Hey everybody, how's it going? Welcome to another podcast broadcast with your host T-Man. I know it's been a little while since I posted anything. I have been in a bit of a weird headspace. There's kind of been a change of foot mentally, and I didn't quite know what to discuss, and I wanted to move things into a different direction, kind of cover some different material, new material. I have been battling a lot with anxiety, and I know I've talked about it a lot on here, and I'm sure other people do as well. And I've been doing a lot of things to improve myself in that realm. I've talked about it before, like taking cold showers, doing things that raise my anxiety level, such as competing at taekwondo tournaments and going out dancing, basically putting myself in challenging situations where I need to learn and improve. And that's been great. And something, though, that has really helped me, that I think has really helped me, has been my sleep patterns. I changed up my sleep patterns where now instead of like getting only about 3.5 hours of continuous sleep, where I'm getting a solid 5-6 hours a night plus a nap or so during the day for about maybe an hour to an hour and a half. And I think it could be extremely beneficial to my mood, my anxiety, whatever it is that's been kind of rolling around in my brain. I don't know. But it helps, I think, that I stay active. I work out about 6 days a week, sometimes 7 days a week, hit the sauna almost every time I go to the gym for about 20 minutes. I stay up on my supplements. I try to eat pretty good. So just been, I try to stay on my health, and I try to stay on my physical and mental health a lot. So that helps. I've been making improvement in areas as well. So I've, making a little bit of financial improvement, a little bit in the personal life. Well, maybe not improvement there, but, let's just say I've had a little bit of fun here and there, and that helps with the mood for sure. So, I also started taking a new supplement, NAC. Check it out, NAC. And I don't really know that much about it. I've done some research on it a couple weeks ago, so I decided to give it a shot. I got it from a company called Thorne. It helps with, I guess, glutathione levels. I don't know. I have to go back and look at it. But it's a supplement that I've been using, supposed to help with, cognitive function, and also, so I guess some things with the liver. And there's some very beneficial things about it. And maybe that's contributed as well. Now, I also want to talk a little bit about some stuff that I've been extremely interested in for a while now and that I've been following closely. So one thing I have kind of encouraged is to not get too involved in the news. So I don't like to do that anymore. I've gone through periods of ups and downs where I was really, really into the news and watching it, but it is very noisy. And when I say noisy, I mean there's a lot of BS where there's not a lot of true signal coming through, or it gets extremely hard to figure out where there is real signal. Like what is worth paying attention to, what's a waste of your time. It's very frustrating. The news is also meant to make you pissed off and angry. So that's another thing. I don't like to be pissed off and angry, at least not right now. I'm trying to move away from that kind of stuff. There's enough of life will piss you off enough. You don't need to get involved with fake news media to make it even worse. So I have been moving away from that part of the news. But I do follow some prominent people on Twitter. You guys know I'm all into Jordan Peterson, Scott Adams, Mike Cernovich, Nassim Taleb. I talk about him, Gary Vee. And I've been noticing some huge shifts, some big movements. Something that was really interesting to me that I've been following for a few days now. Hey everybody, Do you want to record your own podcast like me? Well, Anchor is a one-stop shop for recording, hosting, and distributing your podcast. Best of all, it's 100% free and ridiculously easy to use. And now, Anchor can match you with great sponsors who want to advertise on your podcast. That means you get paid to podcast right away. In fact, that's what I'm doing right now by reading this ad. That's right, mofos. It's easy. Check it out. For one, let me preface this. I've been watching or listening to Fooled by Randomness again by Nassim Taleb. I read the book a few years ago. I listened to the audiobook last year or at the beginning of this year, and then I'm going through it again. It's so good. It's so good. It's essentially about our inability to make predictions based on our models of the world. Well, there's a lot of things in it. And it's a humbling book. And anyway, this guy, Nassim Taleb, has just destroyed the concept of IQ. You know, everyone's heard of the IQ test. Do you have a low IQ? Do you have a high IQ? And I found it extremely interesting that basically, if you know anything about, have you ever heard of the bell curve? If you've heard of the bell curve, it's a distribution of data. It's kind of where people would fall along on a line. It's got a vertical, horizontal axis, and it's supposed to give you a distribution of where the population is regarding a certain measurement. Well, people like to measure IQ as intelligence. And people have been arguing for a while now that there's a bell curve for IQ, where, there's most people have a certain IQ, and then people below a certain IQ are on the left side of the graph. People that have above a certain IQ are on the right side of the graph. And there's all these statistical properties associated with the bell curve. Well, this guy, Nassim Taleb, who has written a book called Fooled by Randomness, The Black Swan, Skin in the Game. Anyway, he's written a lot of good books. And he's gone through a 25 plus Twitter rampage, destroying the whole idea of IQ. And his concept is that IQ, once you get above people that are special needs, like above 70 to the 85 range, that it doesn't predict anything. That its predictive power is like 10 to 15% in terms of like your success. That basically people with lower IQs sometimes can many times outperform people of higher IQs in many different areas of life. And so it's basically, it doesn't have any usefulness outside of the test itself. And I thought that was extremely interesting because I follow some people that heavily rely on IQ or, IQ metrics. Jordan Peterson uses IQ metrics a lot. But it's really interesting. I mean, I would say that Nassim Taleb is probably correct on his analysis of IQ testing and the statistical problems with it in the bell curve. And he's completely destroying people's concept of IQ. And he's really taking a whip to psychology right now. I mean, his Twitter rampage over this weekend and the Christmas holiday of 2018 is going to really bring people into question about psychology even more than ever. And it's going to challenge people like Jordan Peterson. And I mean, I don't have a problem with that. I subscribe to a lot of what Jordan Peterson says, but it is going to make a big challenge to Jordan Peterson's IQ information. So I think that that's something to watch on the horizon here. Jordan Peterson briefly went at Nassim Taleb and replied to him saying that there's other measurements that are more predictive than IQ or more predictive than IQ, such as a personality trait, which is known as conscientiousness. So anyway, There's some gonna be some big stuff happening in that realm. If you follow the intellectual dark web, which I do, or if you follow the people, if you follow the emerging group of major thinkers that are kind of coming up against the mainstream media, whether that be Joe Rogan, Sam Harris, Jordan Peterson, all these guys, then there's something brewing right now, and it's on the IQ side of the debate. So watch out for that. You'll probably see some things coming up. Anyway, it's an extremely interesting conversation. So let's keep a watch out for that if you're interested. And I think that we're going to see some interesting stuff coming up in the new year regarding that. Anyway, that is about all I have to say at the moment. And hopefully I'll have some new stuff coming up on a more regular basis. But for now, I will say peace out. And remember, guys, get your shit together. Adios.